All right. Today we're going to dive into a fascinating thought experiment, one that's grounded in real evolutionary biology. We're going to explore a completely different kind of intelligence, one that grew up right here on Earth. And then we're going to ask a really big question. If we humans weren't around anymore, what might take our place?
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's all about the cephalopod. We spend so much time looking up at the stars, searching for other minds, but it turns out evolution ran that same experiment right here in our oceans. Octopuses, squid, cuttlefish, they represent a totally separate journey to complex thought. It's like intelligence was built twice, from a completely different blueprint.
And if you want to understand just how alien they are, look at this number. 560 million years. That's how long it's been since our evolutionary paths split. Our last common ancestor was probably some kind of simple little worm that could barely tell light from dark. From that point on, we went one way, and they went another. One path led to us, a mind built around a backbone. The other path led to a mind without one.
So how did that happen? How does genius get forged without a spine? Let's dig into the science and see how this incredible mind was built.
Okay, right here, this is the key difference. Our brain is basically a CEO. It's a single command center, sending orders down to the rest of the body. A cephalopod's nervous system, it's more like a committee. The central brain, which is actually wrapped around its throat, sets a high-level goal, something like, go check out that rock. But each of the 8 arms, which, get this, contain most of the animal's neurons, gets to figure out the how all on its own. They can touch, they can taste, they can move independently. It's a completely distributed, decentralized form of intelligence.
So what was the spark? What pushed them to become so smart? Well, it was a crisis. See, for millions and millions of years, cephalopods were safe and sound inside their shells. But then they did something crazy. They got rid of their armor. All of a sudden, they were just these soft, tasty blobs of protein in an ocean full of fast, smart fish. That intense pressure from predators was the engine that drove their genius. They couldn't fight, so they had to think. Their survival literally depended on outsmarting everything that wanted to eat them.
And this isn't just a cool theory. We've seen them do absolutely incredible things. We've watched them carry around coconut shells, basically as portable armor they can deploy when they need it. In labs, they can solve puzzles, like unscrewing a jar from the inside to get a snack. They're flexible thinkers, using different tricks to open up different kinds of clams. And they can map out huge areas, always knowing how to get back to their one specific den. That's not just instinct. That's some serious problem solving.
And you know what? This brilliance isn't just in octopuses. The whole group of shellless cephalopods, the coleoids, shows this amazing trend. Squid, cuttlefish, they all have their own versions of this incredible intelligence and behavioral flexibility, all because they had to learn to live by their wits. For so long, we just assumed these smart creatures were total loners. But a discovery a few years back just blew that idea out of the water. It gave us this amazing peek into a much more complex social future. And this right here is where we start to cross the bridge from what we know into what could be.
So let me introduce you to Octopolis and Octalantis. These are 2 places off the coast of Australia where gloomy octopuses have been caught doing something we thought was impossible. They've formed these dense communities. They've built settlements. You could even call them cities.
Now, Octopolis was found first, and it was built around some old piece of human junk. So at first, scientists thought, okay, this is a fluke, it's just because of our trash. But then they found Octalantis, and this one was built around a natural rock formation. That was the smoking gun. It proved this city building is a natural behavior. And in these places, we see them taking care of their dens, signaling to each other. They've even been seen kicking out their neighbors.
And this quote just captures it perfectly. They're not just gathering in one spot, they are actively building. They use the leftover shells from their food to build up and protect their dens. They are changing their environment to make it better for them. They are, as the researchers said, true environmental engineers. So let's take all of that, their distributed minds, their newfound engineering skills, and use it as a launch pad. And I want to be really clear here. We are now officially entering the realm of speculation. This is our what if, a hypothetical look at where this path could lead way, way down the road, in a world without us.
You can imagine 2 big paths opening up. The first one is an underwater biocivilization, something totally different from ours. Instead of melting metal, they would learn to manipulate life itself. Maybe they'd domesticate coral to grow their cities, or farm bioluminescent bacteria for light. The other path? Even crazier, a full-on move to land, where their boneless multi-armed bodies might become a huge advantage.
Let's focus on probably the wildest idea to come out of that land-based path, the squibbin. This is a creature imagined by scientists thinking about a world 200 million years from now. It's a descendant of squid that lives in the trees, a super smart, canopy-dwelling animal that swings through the branches using its tentacles.
Now, of course, the challenges to living on land are massive for a creature like this. Gravity is a huge problem for a soft body, so that little internal pen a squid has would need to evolve into some kind of skeleton. Gills don't work in the air, so their mantle would need to become a lung. But for every single one of these huge problems, there's a plausible, even if it's way out there, evolutionary solution. The potential is there.
Okay, after that wild trip to the future, let's bring it back to reality. Because for all their potential, cephalopods are facing some fundamental roadblocks, some great filters that are stopping them from building a complex technological world right now.
The first one is the big one: fire. You just can't master fire underwater. And think about what that means. Human civilization is built on fire. It let us cook food, which gave our brains more energy. And, crucially, it let us smelt metal. Without fire, there's no Iron Age, no steel, no cars, no power plants. A human-style civilization is basically impossible.
The second huge barrier is time. It's actually kind of sad. Most octopuses only live for a year or two. And here's the critical part. The mother dies before her babies even hatch. That means there's no chance for parents to teach their kids anything. There is no transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. Every single octopus starts its life from scratch, having to figure everything out on its own. It's really hard to build a culture that way.
So you put those two things together, no fire and no teaching, and you have to wonder, is a complex future just off the table for them?
Well, maybe we're just asking the wrong question. Maybe we're stuck thinking like humans. What if their civilization wouldn't be technological at all? What if it were biotechnological? Why would you need to smelt iron when you can engineer coral to grow your house? Why build a factory when you can harness living bacteria to make light? They wouldn't build with steel, they would build with life itself.
And that really brings us all the way back to the main idea here. When you really look at the octopus, it forces you to completely rethink what intelligence even is. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Is intelligence like a single mountain that all of life is trying to climb, with humans sitting right at the top? Or is it more like a vast mountain range, with many different peaks, each one reached by a completely different path? The octopus, with its alien mind and its shellless genius, really suggests it's the latter. And that's a powerful reminder that our kind of intelligence isn't the only one. And in the grand story of life, it might not be the last one either.